Mike and Ximena's relationship on 90 Day Fiancé was steeped in transaction rather than romance, and there were many times they should have split up. The latest season of 90 Day Fiancé. Before the 90 days was a showcase of toxic couples. After a tell-all that left fans disappointed for leaving issues unresolved, TLC seemed to have done a 180 in the newest season of 90 Day Fiancé, which features couples who don't need translation apps and seem a bit more stable. Perhaps the most problematic couple, Mike Burke and Ximena Morales, were terrible for one another. Fans thought that Mike and Ximena should have broken up way sooner than they did, and there were many times when he should have taken the hint that she was just not that into him. When he paid for everything, it is incredible that Mike was able to take care of Ximena during the pandemic when she couldn't work. She didn't seem enthusiastic or appreciative in the clip of her house tour, just stating the fact that he provided these items for her. He even seemed embarrassed to be financially responsible for her when he was shopping for toys with Nelsie and John. Mike used his money to keep her, and it was expected that she would show her appreciation for his financial help. This suggested the relationship was only about the money and not about love. Mike might believe otherwise, but fans knew that this relationship was never going to last. Their inability to communicate often on 90 Day Fiancé. Couples don't speak each other's language and rely on translation apps. While Mike learned a little bit of Spanish, Ximena is not shown to know any English. The Spanish he does know is not much help in having a conversation with Ximena, leaving so much of the finer details in their conversations lost in translation. Mike is unable to understand nuance in the things she says. For example, when she says "te quiero" rather than "te amo," she can love him, but it doesn't mean that love is romantic. Mike's attempts at Spanish are admirable, but it keeps him from establishing a real connection to Ximena or her family. She's not attracted to him. Ximena makes clear that attraction is lacking on her end in her relationship. She says that Mike isn't attractive physically to her. Compared to the big men she's usually attracted to, who were policemen, tattoo artists, farmers, or drug dealers. Ximena states she has never dated someone like that, but that he is her everything because he will give her kids a better life in the United States. Mike doesn't seem to mind this, though, perhaps because he doesn't totally realize it. When the two are together, there isn't much in the way of chemistry. It adds to the case that Ximena is with Mike for what he can offer her more so than for who he is. He should have taken the hint when he went from New York to Colombia, and the girl he loved didn't seem remotely thrilled to see him. She lied about her ability to get pregnant. Mike proclaimed that he really wanted to have a family with Ximena, and they spoke at length about it. Ximena, a mother of two, waited to tell Mike that she cannot have any more children. "They cut my tubes and burned them," she told Mike, explaining that she wanted to tell him in person rather than over the phone. Mike is taken aback by Ximena's deception, and Ximena admitted she was wrong by not telling him in advance. Ximena kept this from him because she thought he would leave her over this information. And for all of Mike's bad qualities, most fans felt that even he didn't deserve the information to be kept from him. While Mike claimed they could still look into alternative methods to have children, he neglected to acknowledge that Ximena didn't want any more kids. If he wanted a family, she wasn't the woman to be with. She finds him disgusting from the moment Mike arrives in Colombia. Ximena begins nitpicking him about his hygiene. She doesn't like how he leaves his dirty clothes on the floor, or that he farts or puts his dirty shoes in the washing machine. She is so disgusted by him that she begins to resent him for it. On his first trip, she seems more sympathetic, but when he returns, she is less sensitive. Ximena makes it very clear in her criticism that she is disgusted by him. Mike might claim he'll better himself, but he doesn't seem to realize that, unless he fixes everything immediately, Ximena isn't interested. She makes it very clear she is uncomfortable. She isn't eager to be around him, and that was a sure sign he should have left. When Nelsie tells him Ximena is repulsed by him given their lack of communication, Mike suggests that they utilize his friend, Nelsie, as a translator. Ximena is unenthusiastic, given it is Mike's friend and she thinks there'll be a bias, but she agrees. In the call, Ximena expresses just how repulsed by Mike she truly is, and once this is translated to Mike, he says he'll leave. Ximena realizes that if he truly leaves, she'll lose his financial assistance, so she convinces him to stay. This makes it clear just how transactional their relationship is. She wants him to stay another night, and he asks if they can sleep together. Mike should have just cut his losses and found the first plane back to New York when she asked him to pay for her cosmetic surgery. Throughout Ximena and Mike's relationship, it was clear that it was steeped in financial transactions rather than romance. Mike utilized his financial hold over her to keep her, and she realized he'll keep paying to be with her. Both behaviors were incredibly toxic, but Ximena took advantage of this further. Mike took her to look for a wedding dress, and she told him that she'd rather get her surgeries. Ximena makes it clear that her surgeries are more important to her than getting married. She hadn't seemed interested in marriage at all, but Mike is either unaware of this or too blind to see it. His money is the only thing she's interested in, and viewers thought that Mike ought to cut his losses. She doesn't love him, while Mike made it clear from the beginning that he loved Ximena and that he wanted a future with her. Ximena was very candid about the way she felt about him. She bluntly told him that she didn't love him and wanted space. She also told him she didn't want to be with him physically while he was in Colombia. Ximena made it clear that she's not interested in him, in marrying him, or anything that doesn't come with some payment attached. It should have been all that he needed to book a flight home and move on. When he won't leave her house, Mike needed to take a hint long before this. But after Ximena breaks up with him, he should have left. Worse than that, he returns to her home and refuses to leave. This behavior was both inappropriate and threatening, but it also proved that Mike had no place still being in Colombia. During the time Mike refused to leave, Ximena told him no less than 30 times to go. This crossed the line, as Mike had many opportunities to realize he should leave Ximena alone, and that she deserved better than this. The tell-all. While it seemed they had ended things prior to the tell-all, Mike announced that the two have reunited. The tell-all was unsatisfactory for fans, glossing over Mike's behavior and solely focusing on Ximena's part in their transactional relationship. With everyone labeling Ximena a gold digger, Mike claimed he was his own man and they were planning to go to Cartagena together. Ximena seemingly didn't even want to be at the tell-all. Everyone was blaming her, and fans knew that she wasn't remotely enthused about being back together with Mike. Nelsie, Jasmine, and Kimberly all volunteered to help him find someone new, but Mike was determined to make things work with Ximena.